You've probably heard the phrase, if you die in your sleep, you'll die in real life. I've always been skeptical of that idea. It never seemed logical to me. How could a figment of your imagination cause your actual death? I believed dreams were just dreams, with no real consequences unless they were flashbacks. But that all changed when I decided to conduct my own experiment with dreams. Now, I believe it is possible to lose your life due to a frightening experience in a dream. Want to hear my story? Go ahead. Read on. But you may regret learning about my experience. I've always had a scientific mind, analyzing everything and considering all possibilities before drawing conclusions. That's why I was an honors student, earning straight A's in every subject except physical education. I hated physical activity. Anyway, my inquisitive scientific mind made me skeptical of many theories and superstitions. No matter how much evidence supports a theory, I know there will eventually be a factor that completely destroys it. You might think I'm a bit crazy, given how accurate Isaac Newton's laws of motion are, but that's just my worldview. So, I didn't believe the phrase, if you die in your sleep, you die in reality, made sense. But my scientific mind decided to test it. For 1 week, I did nothing but watch horror movies and read creepypastas to induce paranoia and trigger nightmares. Hopefully, I would have a nightmare that would cause me to die and wake up, thus disproving the superstition. And so, my experiment began. Sunday, June 3, 2012. Today, I spent over 10 hours watching classic horror movies and reading creepypastas. The stories were unnerving, but not too scary. Before bed, I couldn't shake the feeling that someone was watching me. Finally, I calmed down and fell asleep. I woke up in a dark room that smelled of rot. I was tied to a wooden slab and couldn't resist. A shadowy figure stood in the corner. "Don't struggle," it said hoarsely. "I've injected you with a paralysis serum." Panic gripped me. I tried to fight, but it was useless. I was immobilized. The figure approached, knife in hand, preparing to gut me alive. I saw its face, and I woke up. Unfortunately, I woke up before being slain in the nightmare. But I'll never forget that nightmare. It was so clear, almost real. That face was terrifying, with demonic eyes and blackened skin, smeared with black makeup. But it was just a dream, right? At least, that's what I thought. Monday, June 4, 2012. I spent another 10 hours watching horror movies and reading creepypastas. They seemed far-fetched, especially Slenderman, who I knew couldn't exist. Yet the paranoia lingered. I still managed to calm myself down. This time, it was years in the future. Life on other planets was proven, and their technology was far ahead of ours. They invaded. Humanity was desperate. We ran frantically, trying to escape. Laser rifles fired everywhere, and alien ships rumbled. They found and captured us. I lost consciousness and woke up in a science lab, where aliens experimented on people. I saw a bright white light. I woke up too early again. The experiment seemed to be failing. I couldn't sleep long enough for the dream to slay me. Given how lazy some people are about reading long stories, I'll skip to the last night of the experiment. You wouldn't want to read a week's worth of dream diaries. Saturday, June 9, 2012. The last day of my experiment arrived. I'd spent 60 hours watching horror movies. It was time for another 10. By now, horror movies and creepypastas didn't scare me much. Falling asleep was easy. It was a bright summer day. I was hanging out with friends, playing games and chatting. That night, we dared each other to do sneaky stunts. One friend jumped from a third-floor window, another called our vice principal. My dare was to run through the local cemetery 3 times. So, I ran once, twice, 3 times, then I blacked out. I woke up in the same dark room from the first nightmare, tied to the same wooden slab, the smell of rot still present. I could move, hypothetically, but I was tied down. I began to struggle, catching the attention of the same figure, who stared at me with demonic red eyes. "Awake?" it asked with that crazy voice. "Too bad. The serum isn't finished." I panicked. It was going to inject me again, suppressing my ability to fight. I couldn't believe it. I still tried to free myself, despite knowing it was futile. The figure drove the needle into my neck, and I screamed as the serum shut down my nervous system, immobilizing me. Where were we? It said, grabbing surgical instruments. The last thing I heard was a demonic giggle and the words, "Sweet dreams." Then a tremendous pain in my chest as the knife plunged in. I woke up. I rejoiced, thinking I had disproven the superstition. But then I felt a brief stab of pain in my chest. I noticed rope burns on my wrists and ankles, and a sharp pain in my neck. But the vividness of my dream hit me when I looked down at my chest, and saw a huge scar right above my heart.